Have you ever looked yourself in the mirror and you wasn't able to recognize the person you were looking at? Not physically, but emotionally. Like somewhere you are lost between balancing the chaos around you and making someone smile, fulfilling all the responsibilities, yet there is some void that is hitting you internally. It's not just about you, but it's the story of many of us. Today, we are going to talk about something we don't tend to discuss enough, as how losing a sense of identity doesn't just confuse you, but somehow it destroys your mental health. And here's the thing, when your sense of self becomes unstable, your mind loses its anchor, and everything feels uncertain. Every decision starts feeling overwhelming. You start second guessing yourself because you feel like there is no ground beneath you. And without that clarity, even the smallest criticism, even from others, feels like a personal attack. But deep down, it's because you are yourself questioning your worth. Now, add insecurity to the mix. When you don't feel secure in who you are, you start comparing yourself to everyone, be it their looks, their success, their confidence, and suddenly everyone else seems to have figured it out except you. And that comparison, it's a trap, as it pulls you into a cycle of chronic overthinking and self-doubt. Your brain becomes your worst enemy, as constantly replaying your mistakes, pointing out the flaws, and keep on overthinking, it convinces you that you are not enough. This loop, it doesn't just makes you anxious. Over time, it manifests as depression, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. And we start living as someone we are not. Here's something painful but true. When you suppress your real feeling to fit into what society accepts, when you try to become the version of yourself that others will accept, you actually disconnect from your authentic self. And you start living in emotional disturbance or dissonance, as you are wearing a mask every single day. You are not who you are in real. Or it can be a scenario, you are different person, completely different person at different places. Like playing a role that doesn't feel like you and that drains you like hell. It creates this deep, hollow emptiness inside because you are not living your life. You are living in a performance, or it feels like you are performing over a stage of life for the others. And trust me or not, no amount of external success can fill this void. Why? Because the person who's achieving it, that is not really you. That hits like a big thing, right? The fear that keeps you isolated. Insecurity also brings with it a paralyzing fear. The fear of rejection. Rejection by whom? Everyone around us, from whom we need the validations, right? When you don't accept yourself, yes, yourself. Why? Because in the chaos around us, we feel like we need to be accepted by our parents, by our friends, by our partner, by our loved ones. But in the meanwhile, we literally forget to accept ourselves only. And due to this, you start assuming others even won't either accept you as you are not accepting yourself. So you start avoiding social situations. You start distancing yourself from the people that might accept you. But just because you haven't accepted yourself, you feel like they will also not accept me. You isolate. Yes, you do. You build walls around yourself because showing up as you feel like it's too risky for me. But here's the cruel irony. In protecting yourself from rejection, you also block out genuine connections. You end up feeling lonelier than ever, surrounded by people but deeply disconnected. Here's the validation trap begins. And when insecurity takes over, we start looking outward for answers. We become dependent on validation from others, like be it compliments, approval, just to feel okay about ourselves. And I don't know, but most of the people feel like validations are not necessary at times, but trust me or not, as we are human beings, our basic need is to be validated by the people we love, be it family, friends, or whatever it is coming in your mind. It is the basic need. So the moment we are not able to fulfill by ourselves, we start looking outward for the validations. But here's the problem. When your self-worth is tied to external validations, your mental peace becomes a roller coaster. How? Like one negative comment can ruin your day. Is it? Yes, it is. One moment of being ignored can make you spiral. You are emotionally unstable because your sense of self is in someone else's hand. Makes sense, right? Yeah. Yes, it does. Because of that, we start juggling too many versions of ourselves. Like identity crisis also happens when you are juggling too many roles. Roles like as a student, professional, partner, parent, without a clear sense of who we are at the core. As I told you earlier, that at times when we are insecure in ourselves or we are going through an identity crisis, what we tend to do? We literally become different person or different personalities at different place. As we are different person in school, college, like be it if you are a school student or college student, or professionals, like you are completely different personality in your office and at homes, with friends, with your partner. Why it happens? The basic reason is you are going through an identity crisis. And psychologist Erik Erikson called this a role confusion, where you are doing everything but you don't know what truly aligns with you. And that confusion, it leads to stress, burnout, and even existential depression. That deep haunting feeling of what's the point of all this? That comes when the growth stops, as when we start feeling like we are trapped in insecurity and literally everything around us feels like stagnant as the growth stopped. Your mind is so busy telling you that you're not enough and there is no room for curiosity, learning, or exploration. You stop being kind to yourself, you become your hardest critique. And instead of supporting yourself through hard times, you tear yourself down even further. Here's what I need you to hear, you literally don't have to have it all figured out. Yes. Identity isn't it something fixed? It evolves, right? You're allowed to change. You're allowed to not to know. You're allowed to be a work in progress. Is it? Yes. Healing starts with self-awareness, with pausing and asking yourself, who am I beyond all what others expect me to be? What do I actually value? What makes me feel alive? Start asking these questions to yourself, as self-awareness is the most needed part of our lives, because the moment we start figuring out ourselves, everything just figured out it on its own. Yes, it does. So start small and start journaling your thoughts, like what do you feel, how you feel. And I have been suggesting people that journaling doesn't mean writing your day-to-day task and everything, like I have been here, I was dressed up like this, someone said me this. No, it's not like that. Journaling is writing your core emotions. If you are feeling something, why you are feeling like this. The moment you will start reflecting your emotions on the paper, or be it in a digital device, you will start reflecting it and you will start figuring it out, why it is happening, how I can stop this, or why this matters to me. As you know, this is very much needed in this era of chaos. Like every time we are busy in serving, be it our responsibility, life and the people, but then we forget ourselves. So start writing. And you can also go and talk to specialists, like therapists basically, and practice mindfulness. Reconnect with the things that genuinely makes you happy. Your happiness matters every single time. It does. Not what you think should make you happy, but what actually does. And most importantly, practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend, because you deserve that kindness. You deserve that grace. You deserve that to be held like a child, to be validated like a child. So don't wait for others to do it for yourself. And when you start embracing who you truly are, be it flaws, confusion and all, mental peace literally doesn't just return, it deepens. It deepens to a level because you're no longer fighting for yourself. You are finally on your own side. So be on your own side. You all to heal. As I have healed myself, and the things that I have told you, it's not just a suggestion, but it's my story. I have been through it. Throughout my life, I have been in a deep identity crisis, as I have been serving the people around me but forgot to serve myself. So I am here to help you, and I am providing a call to action for the further help, and this call to action might help you to overcome that I was able to overcome through the constant effort and being on my own side. Also, practice mindfulness, as the moment you'll start being mindful about your thoughts, about your things that is going in your mind, be it positive or negative, you'll start noticing the change, as you are your biggest cheerleader. Don't forget that. Thank you everyone.